that true? And all along. That He's always with us, isn't He? He'll go before us and never leave us. And that's powerful. We just realize what that really means in our hearts and grab a hold of that and just let that song be our prayer. It would be amazing the difference in our lives would make. And we're not alone. Praise God. Well, I'm glad y'all made it for this windstorm we're having. I didn't know how bad it was till trying to drive up here. I drive on both sides of the road. It's okay, I pay taxes on both sides of it. So I drive on both sides of it, coming and going. So, but praise God. Glad you're back with us tonight. I'm going to promise. I was going to leave it short this morning, and she said I didn't leave it that short. So tonight, I promise I'm going to leave it short for you tonight. I know y'all got things to do afterwards, and so. But I'm going to just share what kind of God has laid on my heart this afternoon. And if you have your Bibles, turn with me to Matthew chapter 5. Familiar scripture, you all know, you've heard it hundreds of times. We used to sing when we were kids about letting our light shine. How many of you ever seen that when you was a kid? Let your light shine. How many remember the song still? Yeah. See, I don't sing, so I ain't going to sing it for you. So. But, you know, all those songs, you know, we teach kids, we don't realize the impact they really have in their lives. One of the songs, the very first song I ever remember is Marching in the Lord's Army. Y'all remember that song? Everyone ever sing that song? That was the coolest song to me when I was 5 years old. You know, talking about riding in the cavalry and the airplane. I still remember the motion to it. Not that I hadn't embarrassed myself enough for y'all, but I was singing and doing the motions for you. That's okay. But I remember that song. And as I got older and began to serve God more, I began to think about some of those little songs we used to sing. And got thinking, well, those are powerful. Those are not just words. Those are testimonies. Those are things that we really truly be doing. And you know, I know we think, oh, we just please kids in church, right? That's what we think. We just kind of occupy them while the adults have church. You ever felt that way? I did until I had kids. Yeah. And we did Bible quiz. And my kids know more scriptures than I do because of Bible quiz. And then we did children's church and different things. And at our church in Jonesboro, where we attended, my son goes back there and helps. And you go back there and you sit in children's church. And things they're doing back there just amazes me. They hear from God. Yes. They've taught them to know how to listen to God's voice, how to see images as God puts in their mind, how to hear God's voice. And when they begin to pray, it's powerful. Yeah. And we had a gentleman working back there this week with them helping. And he was telling me Thursday that he said, I was just overwhelmed at how powerful those kids were. He said, there I was getting touched, and he said, I was over there bawling like a baby. And he said, the next thing I know is, you know, the kids that were working back there and the young kids that were back there all come around me and begin to put their hands on me and lift their hands up and praying for me and anointing me. He said, I was just overwhelmed. That's what we do with kids today. We teach them to know God at an early age, and it keeps them that straight and narrow path along their life. Amen. That's just another rabbit. I'll quit chasing it. All right, Matthew chapter 5. Starting with verse 13. Just a few verses here. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to throw it out and to trample it underneath the foot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot hide, neither do people light a lamp and put it underneath the bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand to give out light that everyone will be in the house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see the good deeds that glorify our Heavenly Father. Lord, I thank you for your word today. I just pray that you would minister to our hearts and our lives, Lord, as we share your word. Lord, we know what the Scripture says, your word will never go out or return void. So just let it play in our hearts and lives, and each one today, it doesn't take long to be around people and talk to them to find out that people are beginning to be worried about the decline of our morals for this nation and this world. You just look around a little bit and you see the drastic change that our nation is going through over the years. How many in here can still say you remember when you was a kid having prayer in school? You know, there's still a few of us. I remember doing that in first grade. It's when we stopped doing it in Warren Ridge. I remember saying the Pledge of Allegiance all the way up to the 4th grade in school. Those are things that don't happen anymore. You know, we can say, well, they take God out of school and so many different things. And just, you know, our whole moral have just really taken a nosedive. I love technology as much as anybody, but I can see where it's changed a lot of things. I was telling my son not too long ago, I said, man, I'm glad that they didn't have cell phones when I was a kid. That everybody had a camera to record all the stupid things I did. You know, y'all got to be extra careful as teenagers now. You know, because everything's out there. And it's not just there, it's forever there. We teach kids and we talk to them a lot about the things they put out and they've seen. And that how employers go and look everybody up now on Facebook and look at stuff, and people won't get callbacks because of stuff that's out there that they have put out there. So you can say our morals have really took a nosedive. But God has a plan. He has a place for His people. All around this world, we are truly to be the salt and the light to this world. And we can do great things for God, but the most important thing is we're to make a difference. Think about it. You are supposed to make a difference in somebody's life. Ask yourself, throughout this service tonight, whose have you made a difference in life? Whose have you made a difference in? Whose life? You got that out somewhere. That line there. Have you made a difference in anyone's life? Have you let your light shine enough in someone else's life where there's a difference made? We are around people every day that our light shines. You may know it, and you may not realize the light that's being cast out from you. But we need to make a difference. In this world, it's not our home. We're just going to be here for a little while. We're just traveling through, right? But while we're here, we're going to let God's light shine through us. Yeah. Have you ever dropped a flashlight in a hole just to see how deep it is or to see what's down there? I remember as a kid one time we was playing and we had this big ditch by our house that had a tunnel that went down just to catch the water off the field that let it run down into the big ditch. And it was just a straight pipe down. We wanted to see how deep it was and how far down, what was at the bottom. So I remember us tying a string to a flashlight and just let it drop down and just trying to see what was down there. And I remember just hitting water and splashing going dead, you know. But we got to see that we knew what was down there after that. We are a light that shines out and through some of the darkest places and to some of the darkest lives around us. And you're the only light they ever see. The only light they ever see. First thing is this: what a corrupt world it seems like we live in. We live in a life of darkness. Jesus said that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that we've got to be in society that we love being in the darkness because our deeds are evil and we don't want everyone to see them and to know what's going on? We do things not out in the open, do we? If we're going to be simple, we don't want to go out and shout it from the street tops and tell everyone. We do it quietly in our own little dark corners, don't we? We like to hide it, or think we're hiding it from everyone. It also tells us that in John chapter 8, verse 12, it says, that as a child of God, you are part of the darkness of the world. You are not part of the darkness of this world. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have life. That's where we are today. We should have life. Have you ever wondered why we like to, when the darkness is the best time to attack it? When I was pastoring at Corning, one of the gentlemen in our church was a NATO commander. And he was telling me at the time when they were over there in Iraq, he said, Michael, he said, every one of our attacks happened at night. He said, because we knew when we had the equipment that would allow us to see at night, and they didn't. He said, the daytime, we would hide. We would hunker down. We'd bury ourselves as deep as we could so we couldn't be seen by the enemy. He said, at night, because we had the capability to be able to see, that we would go out and we'd make our moves at night. And he said there was times we would walk by the army and they had no idea we were there. I got to thinking about that. That's kind of scary. I got to think, isn't that what Satan kind of does to us? When you're in the darkness, when you're blinded, and you can't see anything, and he wants to come right up to where you are. Have you ever scared someone in the dark? Turn the lights off, and just stand right next to them. And just say, boom. You know, everybody, that's just freaky, isn't it? No matter how old you are, that's just freaky. It's too much. You kind of jump a little bit. That ain't right. No one should do that to you. The only bad things come out of the darkness. When Jesus said He's the light for us, that's going to change in our life, and we're going to be a light for others. It says, I am come to the light, I am the light of the world. That whoever believes in me shall not abide in the darkness. In John chapter 12. It also says, if we are in the world, if the world would love his own, but because they are not of this world, but they have chosen you out of this world. Therefore, the world hates you. Isn't that something? The world hates you. I've often thought, you feel like you get attacked a lot when you accept Jesus. And you do. Because you no longer are you of this world. You've been chosen out. And Satan doesn't like that. He wants you to be in the darkness. You're bringing light into the world that He don't want, that it reveals things that's going on that He don't want others to see. He wants you to stay in the darkness. He don't want you to shine your light where others can see it. He wants you to remain in the dark. Don't dare to shine the light. We have to let our light shine for others. When I worked at the police department for a few years, I like to work at night because that's when everything happens, right? And I made it a promise when I started working at night that I would drive every road in our town at least 3 times. I thought, well, what difference does it make, right? Well, after I started doing this for a few weeks, my chief started asking me, he said, hey, what are you doing at night? I said, what do you mean? I'm working. He said, well, we don't get near as many calls at night when you work. Well, that's a good thing. He said, then I get questioned all the time about how many people I have working at night. Because they keep seeing this car driving by their houses constantly, over and over and over. And I told him what I was doing. I said, I was making a point that hit every road in town 3 times. It made people nervous. People didn't get out and do things they were normally doing. The light was kind of being shined upon everything, wasn't it? As Christians, we are to be witnesses. He made a very important statement on the very important part of that verse we read a while ago in Matthew 5. The very first word was you. Jesus wants to know that you are the one who's going to shine the light. You, every believer, is a representative of the kingdom of God. Jesus has declared for his followers to be the salt and the light. And there is no exception. You are to be the salt and the light, no exception. Think about that. You can't just choose if you're going to be the salt one day. You can't just choose one day if you're going to be the light. You are the salt and the light every day. Then he goes on and tells us in Acts 1:8 that you are his witnesses. And it tells us in Matthew chapter 28, Jesus said, go therefore into the nations, teaching them all, baptizing them. Those are things that Jesus had told us to do. We have to be about it at all times and to be an effective witness for him. We have to be the salt. Have you ever thought about what salt does? Is the older people have a better idea. I have a good idea because I worked at a meat market when I was growing up. My dad had. Salt purifies. I used to remember my grandma had a smokehouse behind her house when I was a kid. And they would take meat and they would kill, and they would hang it up and they'd wrap it in salt and smoke it and it would purify it and keep it for a long time. Salt purifies and it keeps it, preserves it. You're the salt of the earth. You're purifying and you're preserving what God has. Why is that important? Because if you're not preserving what God has done, it's going to be lost. And you have that for generations to come, and you pass that down. I remember my mom used to talk about how, when she was a kid, how important that smokehouse was to him. My grandfather wasn't a farmer. He was an electrician. So when he come back home and they bought their little piece of land there in Ponce, he said, I tried to get by a large amount. He said, I just need that little big spot. He said, I'm not a farmer. I'm an electrician. So he bought that little bitty piece of property they had. And they built that smokehouse. And they would buy enough meat to get them through the year. And they would go and they'd put it in the smokehouse. And it was there all year long for them. To preserve that meat. You have to preserve what Christ has given you. You have to hold on to it. And not just for you, but for your children and their children and for all those around you that need Jesus. You're the salt that does that. You're the salt of the world that preserves that for them. Salt is important to have in their lives. Salt is important for us in our bodies as well. The body needs some salt. Have you ever heard of what's called a sodium deficiency? It can cause fatigue, seizures, muscle spasm, confusion, and a coma. When I was going through one of my schools, I had a guy tell me about a man in one of our local hospitals who went into a coma. They said they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. He was in perfect health. He was a runner, drunk nothing but water, great shape, but he was in a coma. That's how they found him. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And they had a doctor make a round one day. And they said, well, why don't you take a look at him and tell us what was going on? And he said, well, let me see his charts. He said, this is what's wrong with him. No one else knew. He lay there in a coma for several months. And they said, this is what's wrong. Because he had dealt with this case before. He said he has no sodium. He called it a sodium washout. Because he didn't take enough food in that had sodium. He wasn't adding salt. He wasn't trying to stay healthy. He wasn't taking anything in. So his body went into a coma. So they just basically give him salt water. And a few days later, he began to wake up. And that's what happened. I always was amazed by that story because I thought, I never understood how important salt was in our lives. But salt also gives you strength. The Roman soldiers used to get paid in salt. And they used to give them salt because it made them stronger. That's where we get the saying that man's not worth his salt. Because he wasn't any good. He wasn't worth his pay. Salt is a part of our life. we always kind of skip over that when we talk about the light. When we grow up, we know what the light is, don't we? We grew up not having to burn candles, or most of us has. But, we kind of skipped the whole idea about salt. The salt's important to everything we do. Then next is talk about the light. Our witness is critical to everyone. Have you ever walked around in the darkness, not been familiar in the area you're in? It can be dangerous. It can be serious. You can cause injury to yourself. The worst thing you'll ever do is stub your toe because you walk around in the dark, right? We got these neat little things in the hallway now that as you get up to the light at night, the little lights will come on as you plug them into they take the motion, you can get up and walk because these little lights pop on everywhere. It fights off the darkness. We are to be the light of the world. We are to be shining bright. Be shining into areas where nowhere else wants to go. We are to be shining into people's lives and making a difference. You are into people's lives every day and you don't realize it. How bright your light shines. Not too long ago, I had an inmate tell me, he said, Mr. Harmon, I want to tell you something. I said, okay. Go ahead. I just figured there'd be something about class. And she said, well, because of you, I've been trying to do better. I said, okay. Well, that's good. Like what? She said, well, because of you, I've tried to stop cussing altogether. She said, I let stuff come out, and she said, I'm embarrassed to say stuff in front of you, and I'm sorry. I said, well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. She said, but it's more than that. She said, because of you, I've been reading my Bible every morning. Now, I don't openly just have Bible class, normally at work. But every time God gives me the opportunity, I share God in it. And I always seem to find quite a few ways for preachers to throw God in there. It's not hard for me to do. But I do that quite often. And I asked her, I said, so let me ask you. I said, can you tell a difference in your life? She said, yeah. She said, let me tell you some things that started happening once I started reading the Bible and praying. She said, I hadn't been able to communicate with my kids in several months. She said, matter of fact, my oldest son was upset because I was in prison. She said, because of the change that's been going on in my life, she said, I got a letter from him the other day. She said, and then I got a letter from my youngest son the other day. And I got a chance to tell him about how much better I'm doing, how important it was for me to be here and get my life straight and different things. And she said, I'm going to get my first visit with my kids. Over 2 years. She said, I know all this because of the difference that we've made in my life. You don't know whose life you're letting the light shine in. And Jesus talks about be the salt of the world and be the light of the world. You're truly supposed to let it shine. Let it pour out upon people. Because you don't know whose life you're making a difference in. I'm going to end with this. I told you I was going to keep it short. I've even skipped a lot of my notes here, but I want to end with this. It is a blessing to see God. And if you don't become the salt, and you don't become the light to those around you, you'll never see the blessing that He pours out on people. Because it won't be there. Think about who poured into your life. Think about the people who preserve God in your life. Think about the people who allow God to shine in your life. I have some dear people in my life that I will always be grateful for doing that. But you know what? I need to do this more important than just saying thank you. I need to do the same for someone else. And that's why it's important for us to be the salt and the lie of this world.
Thank you.
Stand with me.